Ron Barron, billionaire Ron Barron, I mean, this man, a great investor, and we're talking about a guy that maybe goes on CNBC 1 to 3 times a year. So, yeah, I got to put this one on the Big Dog channel here today, folks. I got to make sure as many people see this one as possible. So, appreciate y'all being here. Make sure you check out pinned comment down there. Get my Investing Foundations workshop. It's brand new. You guys will enjoy that one. It's absolutely free.
The rank and file are asking for, given the uncertain future of whether Americans ever embrace non-Tesla EVs, I mean, would you think that the big three have their work cut out for them? Would you at least acknowledge that, do you think?
I haven't studied the big three relationships with the unions. I don't own them, although I really like Mary Barra, but I don't know.
Would you like to compete against Tesla?
I would hate to compete against Tesla. So Warren Buffett initially would say, said 20 years ago, 15 years ago, he said that he wouldn't invest in Tesla, and now he says he would hate to compete against Tesla.
What a silly question. You want to compete against Tesla? Okay, yeah, we're going to compete against Elon Musk, and we're going to compete against a car, let's call it an automaker, that keeps dropping price, that has their foot on our throat right now, and doesn't care about short-term profits. Like, you want to compete against them? Absolutely not. That sounds like the worst company to possibly compete with, and they're beating you everything as far as the tech side of everything. They've spent on the infrastructure, they spent on the self-driving software, they've spent on all these things that you just haven't been able to spend. Come on, man. Like, that's not even a question. Of course, like, Tesla's probably one of the last companies in the world you'd want to compete with right now.
So to go on to this, so the Model 2, this is coming within, by 2025. When that comes, that's going to be exactly the same thing as what happened when Tesla introduced the Model S. So you're going to see this tremendous change going on there. And then, as I said,
I don't know if Model 2 is really coming in 2025. I don't know about that. We'll see. I could see it being shown off by in 2025, but I don't know if it's coming. And the reason being is obviously with the price drops of Model 3, Model Y recently, Tesla's going to have a whole lot of sales coming in the next few years for those. You got Cybertruck that's just about to ramp in a significant way in 2024. Tesla's going to have their hands completely tied up in regards to Cybertruck for the next several years. So I don't know. I'm thinking Model 2 might be more of a 2026, 2027 story personally. That's my belief in regards to that. And that would line up better with kind of having all the self-driving software 100% done and being able to get laws passed in different states, cities, and just countries in general.
Or the software, core competency, Model 2 half price, and then Dojo. So Dojo.
Oh, right.
Yes, I said, what is Dojo?
Yeah.
So Dojo is a training. And what that is, that they have this massive amount of data for all these cars that have been driving around for millions and millions of miles, and that keeps growing exponentially. No one has that. So they have this data, but to crunch the data, you need compute. And compute is what NVIDIA has. And NVIDIA has a chip which is for everyone to use. They have all these different, all these different, opportunities that this company has. What our company has is they're making their own compute, and they, in 18 months, are going to have more compute than anyone in the world, Tesla. And compute is stuff that's in your basement as opposed to the chip that's in your car. So what they're going to have is they will have so much massive capacity to provide services to cars. And
so what Ron Barron's talking about here, I got to give somebody mad credit in regards to this. And his name is Galileo, over at a channel called Hyperchange. I don't think he really posts anymore nowadays, but he used to bring up this point in an amazing way, 5 years ago. He was talking about how Tesla was way ahead of everybody else when it came to collecting miles of, people actually having their vehicles on self-driving, and then that's going to give them this massive competitive advantage 5 years, 10 years out, right? Now everybody, the masses, even Ron Barron's starting to pick up on this now, that this is like huge stuff. Like all these miles Tesla's collected over time and be able to analyze those and what went wrong and why did somebody take their vehicle off self-driving in that situation? What went wrong there, right? And all the data being able to be analyzed and the AI being able to analyze it and be able to make much better decisions for these vehicles in the future. So if a situation happens where this car cuts over here and the Tesla doesn't react fast enough, in the future it's going to be able to tell, oh, this car's moving over this much, it's going to end up merging in my lane, I need to start to decelerate now. And it's going to be able to make decisions at least as quick as a human, but probably much quicker than a human, and probably in a better manner than a human, because obviously as humans, like we're distracted. All of a sudden somebody calls you, you're looking at your phone, you take your eyes off that, you adjust the radio or whatever, right? You look to your left, oh, what's that new story? And all of a sudden in that moment, like a lot can change, right? The car is always watching. It doesn't get distracted. That's the beautiful thing there. So I think, shout out to Gally.
Be able to train this data, to train your car on this data.
Right.
So what's the competitive advantage is the data, and the training is going to be provided by this compute, and they're going to have more of it than anyone. Nobody can catch them. Last year, by the way, you read about the number of people that are seeking jobs, and they're saying that there's too many people seeking the jobs, or whatever they say it is, with too few people. And what Tesla has is last year, or this year, I think they have 3.5 million people seeking 30,000 jobs. Last year they had 3 million people seeking 20,000 jobs. So there's 130,000.
Yeah, 100%. You know, one of the, I'll say this, okay, about Elon Musk. He has a lot of definitely strengths, and he certainly has a few weaknesses as well. But when it comes to his strengths, there's two strengths that I think are overwhelming. One has been his ability to raise money over time, right? And that's one of the reasons that when I was investing in the stock many years ago, right, and I was able to get this crazy gains on the stock, right, I was able to tell that like Elon Musk could raise money in any sort of situation. The man raised money for Tesla when it was a nobody company in 08, 09, when nobody could raise money. Like, this is amazing. This is simply amazing, right? That guy can raise money like it's nobody's business. That's a skill in itself. The second massive strength of Elon Musk is his ability to attract top quality talent. And Ron Barron was speaking about there how many applications obviously Tesla always has. And, if you are let's call it a real go-getter, and you want to work for the best of the best, and many times you want to work for Tesla, they don't always pay the best, but your work is likely going to be some of the most let's call it fulfilling work you've ever done in your life. And that's something Steve Jobs used to speak about Apple back in the day when he was leading Apple back in the late 90s into the early 2000s. And he said, and even back in the 80s, he said, we worked our butts off, and people will tell you, like, even though the stress they had to deal with and everything, that was the most rewarding situation that they ever had in their life, right? And they never did anything that was up to that sort of level of rewarding and like game changing and like just feeling good about yourself in the end of like, wow, we really did this, we really accomplished that. So I think those are two massive things there. Striking unions impacting the economy at a level not seen in decades. We have these strikes going on over the place. We avoided the UPS one, but now we got this United Auto Workers strike. The Hollywood strikes have been going on for, how long has the Hollywood strikes been going on for now? I think it's like 3 months or something insane, right? Check this out. So far, the United Auto Workers stoppage has impacted just a small portion of the workforce with limited implications for the broader economy. However, if things heat up and it turns into an all-out strike, bringing into play the 146,000 of those working at Ford, GM, and Stellantis, that could change things. August alone saw some 4.1 million labor hours lost this year, the most in a single month since August 2000. Wow. Potential pay raises have raised the specter that inflation, which has been, let's call it starting to come down, right, from 40-year highs, could be stickier as unions fight for higher ground, right? So this is it's not, at some point in time, it seems like it's going to catch up with the economy. It really does, okay? I was even speaking to a friend yesterday, and I was like, when do all these strikes that are going on in Hollywood start to affect the LA area in a very negative way? Because I'm like, most people aren't like some super famous actor that's making $1 million a movie. Like, many of these folks are like middle class folks that work on the props and all the behind the scenes stuff, right? And if those folks are out of work, who's paying the bills? Like that's my question. Like, how are those folks even making ends meet? Like, what are they doing? Driving Uber or working at the local restaurant, or what's going on there? Because that just like doesn't make sense. Doesn't make financial sense. And at some point in time, that's got to hit the LA economy and the Southern California economy. It's got to hit eventually, right? And obviously, if you see these folks just are striking and things like that, right? You're going to be out of work, and then next thing you know, the bills come due. I don't know, man. We'll see how it all plays out, but it's not an ideal situation. I can understand people want more money, but I also think companies are going to strike back, and I think they're going to move some of this work, let's just call it to Mexico. That's my personal opinion in regards to that, okay?